They say horror reveals what we fear most, and I wanted to find out exactly what I'm afraid of. This month, I'm venturing into the shadows. 3 books, 3 flavors of fear. Some promise ghosts, others promise madness, but all of them claim one thing, that I won't sleep the same ever again. Before I open these cursed pages, let's remember, horror wasn't born with jump scares. It crept out of Gothic castles in the 1700s, with crumbling walls and forbidden corridors, and things better left unread. It evolved from vampires and monsters into something far worse, the horror of the human mind. And now I'm testing it for myself. I'll be reading The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, Loot by Jennifer Thorne, and Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I'm not just asking, is it scary? I'm asking, will it change me? Welcome to my horror genre deep dive. Our first stop on this horror descent, The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. I also learned how to pronounce that name within the intro and now, so I apologize in the beginning. But it is Tananarive Due. The Reformatory is set in 1950s Jim Crow, Florida. This story follows 12-year-old Robert Stevens Jr., who is sent to the infamous Gracetown School for Boys, also known as the Reformatory, for committing the crime of trying to protect his sister. But this isn't just a reform school. It's a place built on abuse, cruelty, and the ghosts of all the boys who never made it out. Haunted by violent spirits and watched by even more violent men, Robert isn't just fighting to survive his sentence. He's fighting to survive the horrors that live within the walls. From my understanding, this isn't jump scare horror. This is horror rooted in history and injustice, in the kind of evil that doesn't need monsters, because the real monsters are human. Let's dive into this and let's see what lingers longer, the ghosts or the truth. I'm super excited about this one. I have been itching to get into this for the longest time, and I literally cannot wait any longer, so let's go now. Wow. So the sorry if it's hard to hear me, but the dedication says, for Robert Stevens, my great uncle, Robert Stevens. For Robert Stevens, my great uncle who died at the Dozier School for Boys in Marianna, Florida in 1937. He was 15 years old. Oh, it's also Patricia Gloria Stevens Due, 1939 to 2012. I miss you, Mom. That's gonna make me cry. And John Dorsey Due Jr., freedom lawyer. Thank you for collaborating with me, Dad. Oh my God, okay. We have our halfway point update. Well, let me explain. The Reformatory, right? Loving it. Loving it. I am loving it. Let me explain this right, okay? I think just the deep-rooted history and the anticipation of what I think is coming is what's keeping me so invested in this novel and so excited about it, because like plot-wise, technically we are on page 266. Technically, plot-wise, not a lot has happened, but a lot also has happened. But not a lot of like wow moments or truly horrifying moments, right? But I'm still super invested in it. I'm still super curious about it. I just want to know what's going to happen to this poor boy in this novel. Yeah, so I'm loving it. Basically, sum up all of that roundabout way to say that I'm loving it. I am. I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm on chapter 19, page 266. So it's like just about halfway through. And yeah, we're just gonna do some more reading today. I'm hoping to get through a good chunk of this. I have like 3 hours until I have to go do something, and we're just gonna listen to the audiobook the whole time. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling very well today, which sucks, but there is a silver lining because that means I can hopefully get a lot of reading done today. We have some updates. I officially finished The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, and I don't think I'll stop hearing the echoes of this place anytime soon. I gave this book 5 stars. It was so incredibly good. It's part ghost story, part historical reckoning, and somehow the real parts are the ones that haunt the most. This book is not just fiction. It's inspired by the Dozier School for Boys in Marianna, Florida. This is a real reform school that operated for over a century. Hundreds of boys went missing there, beaten, buried in unmarked graves, which this book goes into great detail about. And unfortunately, their stories are covered up by those who call it discipline. Dew's ghosts aren't just spirits. Their history demanding to be remembered. And what's so terrifying is that it wasn't that long ago, and what's so gross about it is that it wasn't that long ago. These walls, these systems, these names, they still echo through the present. And to me, that's true horror. I thought it was fabulously written. Tananarive Due is a really great writer. Very, very, very good book. Okay, we have a bit of a roster change. I have put Loot down because I decided to pick up Misery by Stephen King instead. I felt like if we were gonna do a horror deep dive, then I had to put a Stephen King in there, and I just recently got this from the library, so it was the perfect excuse. This is about a locked room, a typewriter, and a woman who swears she's your biggest fan. This is a nightmare about obsession, control, and the terrifying line between love and madness. I'm listening to the audiobook mostly, so I think we're around page 50 something at this point. This story follows Paul Sheldon, a best-selling author who's famous for his series about a character named Misery Chastain. And after a car accident in the middle of nowhere, Paul wakes up and finds himself in the home of his number one fan, Annie Wilkes. At first, she seems like a savior, but when Annie finds out that she has killed off her beloved favorite character, Misery, things take a very dark turn. So far, it's kind of this slow, suffocating descent into captivity. So I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I tried to read this book last year around this time, and I DNF'd it. So we're trying to go back into it. That's why I'm doing the audiobook at the same time, because I feel like it kind of helps me stay on track. The beginning, honestly, is kind of confusing because we're switching back and forth without warning between her recount of the accident, his recount of the accident, and also his, like, not necessarily hallucinations, but like daydreams about what is happening. So it's kind of jarring, and I think it's supposed to be, but it confused me a lot the first time that I picked it up. So we have the audiobook now, and it is definitely helping, and I am so far intrigued. Let's continue reading. Let's see how far we can get. I would love to finish this today. That would be ideal, because then I can get to Her Majesty's Royal Coven also, which would be very nice. So let's get reading. Okay, sorry if the lighting is kind of bad. We are now over 60% of the way through Misery, so I thought I would give a little update on how I'm feeling. It's just okay, really. I like it, but I also don't like it. It's not really, I don't know. It seems like a bunch of nonsense, kind of jumbled all together. Maybe it's supposed to be that way because our main character is kind of like on the brink of being crazy. You know, he's an unreliable narrator because he is in captivity, basically, and he is on drugs, you know, so he's unreliable in that sense, I guess, and so is she, because she's crazy, right? So maybe that's why it feels so weird to me. I don't know, but I'm not necessarily loving it. Moral of the story. I am gonna finish it, obviously, because I'm over halfway through, and I might as well. I think I only have like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something left on the audiobook, so I'll finish it tonight, hopefully. Yeah, that'll be that, really. We might be about to make some people mad. Also, my dishwasher is on. If you hear that, that's what it is. Hopefully it's not as loud as it is to me. We officially finished Misery last night. I think I need a moment to breathe and maybe a restraining order for more reasons than one, because this poor book was a 1 star. And to me, that's a bit wild to me, because, well, I mean, I guess it's not that wild. I've only read one other Stephen King, right? Besides a few short stories by him. I read Holly, and I think I really liked Holly when I read it. However, this I did not like at all. Like, literally at all. This book is basically a immersive masterclass in claustrophobia. No ghosts, no curses, just 2 people, 1 locked room, and a very, very, very slow unraveling of sanity. Annie Wilkes is the villain in this novel, and she is very much the embodiment of how devotion and love can get twisted into something completely different, and not in a good way. From what I've read about this, Stephen King wrote this at a time when he was struggling with fame and addiction. And I think you can feel that personal horror and personal struggle pulsing underneath the pages and through the characters. I will say the writing, I don't want to compliment Stephen King very much here, but the writing and the characters were really well done. Even though it wasn't for me, I thought it was kind of slow and boring and just meh, I did like the way he writes, and I liked the characters and how they were portrayed. So yeah, while it maybe wasn't for me specifically, I can appreciate it for what it is, but it was a 1 star for me. I'm not gonna write off Stephen King for the foreseeable future just because I did like Holly. I have heard though that you need to start somewhere different, like around Pet Sematary, I think people say is a really good place to start. So maybe next Halloween time we'll pick up Pet Sematary, but for now we'll be putting him aside and moving on to my final descent in the horror genre. I will be trading haunted reformatories and locked rooms for something older, something darker, and something a little bit more magical. This is, although the cover is not on it, this is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. And as you can see, I am quite far into it. I have read it all day today because I'm really liking it. And which is interesting, okay? Because it's not necessarily an atmospheric read. It is very much character driven. It is about the women in the book and their stories and what is happening in the witch community. And I usually don't like that. If you know me and if you've watched some of my videos before, I love an atmospheric book. What is happening here? Apollo, no, lay down. Maybe he was possessed. Uh-oh. Back to it. If you know me, I love an atmospheric read. Some of my favorite books ever are like Legends and Lattes, The Spell Shop, Bookshops and Bone Dust, A Psalm for the Wild Built, like very beautiful atmospheric cozy books. And this doesn't really give those vibes, but I am still enjoying it in some of the same way. But basically on the surface, it's a story about witches, right? But I think on a deeper level so far, it's kind of about power, identity, and what happens when like some of your closest friends become your greatest threat in a way. Old magic starts to clash with modern morality. You have themes of feminism, you have themes of some very heavy things that are super important in this day and age. So I think it is interesting in that sense as well that Juno Dawson has been able to kind of implement those things into the book too. I really like that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. My next update probably will hopefully be when I have finished it too, since I am over halfway through now. I'll just update y'all when I'm finished. I'm wondering if we're gonna be able to finish this tonight. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I've officially finished Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and let's just say I really enjoyed it. Like, I really liked it. I thought it was such a good time, and I'm actually kind of itching to pick up the sequel. This book isn't scary in the traditional sense. There's no ghosts or serial killers, but it's full of a different kind of horror. You have betrayal, you have fanaticism, and a fear of watching something pure turn dangerous. It's mostly a story about power and who gets it, who's trusted with it, and how easily it can corrupt. I loved how the witches in these books, they don't hide in the shadows. They're very much regular people. They hide in plain sight. And I really enjoyed my time reading it. I think I'm gonna rate it 4 stars. Yeah, not quite 5, just because it wasn't like a 5-star book has a feeling, right? And this didn't necessarily give me that, but I still really enjoyed my time. So I've officially finished all 3 books, and you know, I thought I was just here for the scares, but horror doesn't stay on the page, does it? It follows you. The Reformatory left me with a sense of emotional heartbreak, not terror, but something heavier. Book 2 was just kind of there. And book 3 surprised me. I actually really enjoyed it. So, did horror change me? Anyway, that's horror.